Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to go through kind of how I keep my moss poles wet and what the benefits of a moss pole is, and yeah, just all the things regarding moss poles. So if you guys think you'll enjoy something like that, keep on watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and yeah, let's get started. So first off, I'll go through essentially the types of moss poles I have. So I have quite a few of them. I mainly just DIY them myself. So what I like to do is I'll use a metal stick or bamboo stick in the middle. So you can kind of see this one poking out a little bit at the top. And I will just take some good old sphagnum moss and I'll wrap it around the pole, and I'll use twine to just secure it into place, and I'll just tie a knot at the end, and that's pretty much all I do. This is how it ends up looking like. I mean, it's not the cutest moss pole in the world. I know a lot of people like using that like chicken wire and then a PVC pipe inside, like a metal pipe, and then they'll do the moss, but I think that's quite a bit of work. It's definitely more sturdy for bigger plants, and you're able to kind of screw in the PVC pipe into the bottom of the pot so it doesn't shift around, which obviously mine does. But I don't particularly mind that, and my plants are fairly small, so it's okay. I have two of these here. So this is the other moss pole that I have. So it's essentially made the same way, and I just stick it to the bottom of the pot. I try to position it such that it's on the edge of the pot so that it can kind of lean on the side of the pot and just not shift around as much. And that's how I generally make my moss poles. In terms of what the use and purpose of a moss pole is, it's supposed to help plants climb. So essentially, before your plants can attach to the moss pole, you do need to secure it. So I like to either use clips or these Velcro pieces. So this is like a plant Velcro that you could just buy at any like garden center or like dollar store, which is where I get mine, and it comes in like a pack of 3 for like $1. Very cheap and affordable, and you can reuse it because it's just Velcro, and you just cut it to the length of piece that you want and you attach your plant to it. So over time, if you keep your moss pole consistently moist, the roots on the nodes of the plant will attach to the moss pole, which is really, really cool. So I have an example right here. As you can see right over here, the plant has attached to the moss pole, and this just means that it's grabbed on. The aerial roots have dug into the moss, so it's secured. It doesn't need any Velcro. It won't shift around. Like, it's literally attached to the pole. That is ideal because the leaves that grow after it's attached will be larger and it starts climbing up the pole. So that's what you want, and that way the plant doesn't just like flop over and it's just trailing and it grows small leaves, which is what's happening with my micans. But if I were to attach that onto a moss pole, it will grow much larger. So yeah, that's what I have done with my gigas here. This is the new leaf that is still trying to grow and harden off, so it's not fully at its like end result size yet. But yeah, this one is really enjoying the moss pole. It's fully attached. I don't need any Velcro. Obviously, my melanochrysum has not fully attached yet. It is trying. I do see like new aerial roots starting to attach, but I don't think it's secure enough such that I can take off the Velcro. I mean, I don't really mind it at the moment because it's not too obvious in my opinion. The key is, like I said, to keep the moss pole moist, and I find a lot of people just stick their plants on poles and forget about it. They don't take the time to actually wet the moss pole, which is really, really important for the aerial roots to actually attach. And what I found works best, at least in my environment or my type of plant care, is to keep the moss pole in leca. So the moss pole will be sitting at the very bottom of the pot, and that is where it is in contact with the water reservoir. So when it's literally sitting in water, it will wick the water up the moss pole. Because it is sphagnum moss, it is very kind of moisture retentive material, and it will just wick up the pole and literally wet the entire pole. The entire pole is wet right now, and I haven't actually had to water the pole or spray it or whatever the case is, and it just stays consistently moist, and that way the aerial roots can really attach and grab on. So versus my gigas, which is planted in soil, as you can see, this one obviously does not have the same wicking abilities for the moss to slowly get wet from the bottom up. It means I have to actually spray this moss pole. So I have to spray this every single day, and it's actually quite annoying, which is one of the main reasons why I also transferred most of my aeroids to LECA, because they are climbers, they like to be on moss poles. And with something like this, you either have to spray it or you use whatever watering can if you just want to drench the moss pole. I don't want to water the moss pole so much that it ends up watering the soil, so that's a little bit tricky. I just personally spray it. I know some people use those like little water globes and they just like stick it into their moss pole. Obviously mine is too small for that, but if you have a big one, maybe you can consider doing that, because the water can just like slowly leak down. Like I said, super important to keep your moss pole wet. Another thing to consider is, can you add an extension to your moss pole as your plant grows up it? So at some point it will kind of outgrow its current moss pole, and that might be something you may want to consider if it's a fast growing plant, if you don't plan on propagating it, if you just want to keep growing it taller and taller. So if that's the case, you probably want to buy one of those like PVC inner like structure moss poles, because that way you can just twist on another PVC pipe at the very top, and then you can have an extension for your moss pole to get taller. But since mine is just made out of like a stick, I obviously can't take it off. So I probably wouldn't want to grow this plant taller than this. At that point, I'd probably start propagating it, and that's only because mine is growing in a more space limiting situation. So I have it on a shelf and I don't want it to get super tall. But like, let's say you have a monstera or a floor plant that you just want to grow it super tall, then for sure get an extendable moss pole. If you're going to be doing it yourself and DIYing it, you should for sure use that PVC pipe in the center so that you can attach another one at the top. But yeah, I know a lot of stores do sell these, but they are obviously more expensive than if you were to just make it yourself. I personally just make mine myself, same with my trellises. I just keep it pretty simple, and yeah, it works well for my needs, but it may not be something that you would like in your home. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about moss poles. I think they're kind of a new thing recently. There used to be a lot of coco coir poles that were super ugly, or like burlap, and they're just not as aesthetically pleasing as these sphagnum moss poles. But yeah, I hope you guys find it somewhat useful, this video, and make your own moss pole for your plants to grow super lush and big on. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.